So what I want to talk, see, it's April 2024 because I had to talk in April 2024. I would like to talk today about best practices in Spryker Development. Why? Because not just me, but nobody wants to talk to upset customers. And if we do not follow the best practices, somebody will need to do that. Before we start, I want to introduce myself. I'm shorten up here my title. I'm sorry, I'm using just senior technical consultant because it's too long to write and to read. I have a background of developer, technical lead, and solution architect, and I think that's it about me. What I usually do currently is I do a lot of services, and we will talk about services a bit later. So the plan for today is why does it matter? How I collected this information, then what are the categories of all information, like because information is structured, and then I will need your help to find the best words per the category and Q&A session in the end. So let's move on. Does it matter? Short answer, yes. Probably you want to have a bit more explanation why. So customers will know in the end if you or if we are not following the best practices. So we can take a look in Solid. I hope you know Solid. That's why I took it, because it's a buzzword and most probably you know it for sure. So single responsibility in our terms, in terms of development, it will be maintainability. Yeah. So if we apply single responsibility principle, most probably the code will be maintainable. But what does it mean for the customer? The customer, it means that scalability and updatability is higher, long-term value and investment protection and all this stuff. So the same goes to open close principle. For us, it means scalability and extensibility, but for customer, it means cost effectiveness. So it means that they will spend way less money to add some new features. Improved performance, growing demands. So like they will see if we are not following the open closed principle. The same goes to risk of substitution. For us, it's reliability. For them, of course, they will see if the website is down and yeah, basically they will see the reputation loss if we're not following the risk of substitution, or some financial loss or something like that. Interface segregation. For us, it means modifiability, so we can easily modify the system. For them, it means reduced development costs, faster time to market when we're talking about new features. And dependency inversion, for us, it means flexibility and maintainability. For them, it means still cost saving, reduced time to market. So if we simplify this slide in some simple words, for us, we have some non-functional requirements that we will cover. So for us, it will be easy to integrate new features, to fix bugs, to have less bugs in the future. For customers, it means less money, better reputation, less bugs that actually real customers will see on the website. So if we're not following, they will see because the costs are going to be higher, the time that we spend to develop new features is going to be higher, etc. So how the information is collected. The information is collected because currently I'm working on the SaaS. SaaS, it's success enabling services that we're having, and we have a lot of different services that we provide. I took the analysis of the code review specifically, and basically I analyzed the past, I think 5 or 10 code reviews that we were having, and I just collected the most common issues that we have there. And I want to present to you today what are the most common issues and how we can avoid those, so you will be in the top, best developers that we have in Spryker. So what are the categories we have? The categories are pretty much the same as in the code review. Most probably you saw them if you faced the code review already in Spryker services. Some of the categories may slightly change because we're constantly evolving the code review. So we have security, data privacy, use of Spryker architecture, Spryker features, upgradability, extensibility, code quality, performance, and scalability. And the last one is automated test coverage. And this is actually really the last one that we have added. So in each and every category, we have the winner, something that we face almost in each and every project. And sometimes I will need your help. So in security and data privacy, we have several categories to be nominated today. So first one is outdated packages have known vulnerabilities. Second one is expose credentials in the code base. And the third one is credit card data processing and or storing. So out of these three issues, which one do you think is the most common in all the projects that we were facing so far? You can write it in the chat. I think we can spend on this, I don't know, let's try 15, 30 seconds. You can say, I don't know, outdated packages. Yeah. That's a question. You want me to explain what is outdated packages or, okay, good. Oh my God, outdated packages, exposed credentials. There you go. Yeah, we have a lot of people are voting for outdated packages and outdated packages. We need next time some music here, you know? So yeah, unfortunately, outdated packages is the most common issue, and it is considered as really high risk. Why? Because what does it mean? Outdated package means that somebody hacked the package or some issue was found, and it is already publicly released, so everybody knows about this issue, or at least the information can be found. So if somebody knows that you're using that package, or somebody knows how to try to find that, you may be in a really bad position, right? So what does it mean? Check if modules are used in general, remove if they're not, because sometimes we can find outdated packages with known vulnerabilities in something that is not even used on the project. So instead of even updating it, it's just easier to remove it. And then if module is used, of course, update the modules to the newest version, or at least to the version that has the newest security vulnerabilities fixed. There is a tool that we have out of the box. It's security check. So you can use it, I don't know, as part of the development cycle, or put it in CI/CD. Check if that's okay for you, because obviously we know that it takes more and more time as more tools you put there, but please introduce it in your development cycle somehow. Then expose credentials in the code base. It's still quite a common issue though, and still considered as high security risk, because it's not a security storage, right? You should not store your credentials in the code base, never. And if you ever did and you just decided to remove it, it's not enough, because the history is still there. So you have to remove it and you have to regenerate it, and you have to, oh, sorry, we have recommendation slide here. So we need immediately store credentials in environment variables and change the exposed credentials. Tools, there are some tools actually that you may use there, but please check with your legal team if those tools can be used on your project. Otherwise, manual code review still will help you out there. And there is a documentation if you want to know more how to add variables in the parameter store. Credit card data processing and or storing. It's not that common actually on the projects to have that, but because it is really crucial, I wanted to talk about it. So ideally, when we are integrating with a payment service provider, we should integrate it according to the documentation of the payment service provider. We should not touch anything related to the credit card anyhow. We should not store it. We should not transfer it. Nothing related to it. David, can you please mute yourself? Your keyboard is super loud. Thank you. What does it mean for us? Of course, no logs, no nothing. So we cannot do that. We found that several times. It should not be even part of the code review, because for security vulnerabilities, there is penetration testing that should be performed by a third-party system. But of course, if we see something like that, we will expose it to our customers and partners. So what do we recommend? Move all the card data processing to a third-party system. Usually we're talking about payment service provider, and make sure that we're not storing anything in database, in logs, etc. So we should not have that. And we need to make sure that all the team members know about PCI compliance. Yeah, basically that's it. Tools, manual check, or external testing. That's what we can do. Yeah, you can go, Florian.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I saw a question in the chat, I think, from Robert. Do you see the chat, or should I read it?
Yeah, I can check the chat. So do you advise to not use feature bundles to be able to remove unused packages? No, you can use still feature bundles, but when you will need to update them, you will need to update package by package, right? So regardless. And then when you need to unplug, the feature bundles, and you can remove it from there. But usually when we're talking about feature bundles, you will need or use the whole feature bundle or remove the whole feature bundle, right? Most probably you will use or the whole feature or none. But so if you have a specific like example, we can discuss that one. Just write it down a bit later. Yeah, also we have SDK evaluator. Perfect, thank you. And yeah, Guido, thank you for the mechanical keyboard. Okay, let's move on. Yes, I will take it as yes. Use of Spryker architecture. So we have no solid, heavy controllers, and cross-layer dependencies. You can actually still play around and vote. I can I can have 5 seconds for that. I think it's quite a funny experience to have. Heavy controllers. Yeah, so far we have 2 heavy controllers. No solid. Oh yeah. Heavy controllers. Heavy controllers. Okay. Cross-layer dependencies. Did it? Yeah. It was. Oh, somehow I switched. Sorry. I think I switched heavy controllers then to use a bridge pattern because actually heavy controllers was not that big of a problem, but cross-layer dependencies actually is. So what does it mean for us? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, David, for joining. So cross-layer dependencies, it can be really tricky because you will not see the problem, or you may not see the problem on your local machine, but you may face some issues when you go staging or production. And sometimes it may be not that obvious. And in general, it reduces the maintainability a lot. So as long as you have new team members, it's really hard to support the project when you have cross-layer dependencies inside the project. So what do we recommend? Fix cross-layer dependencies. That was pretty obvious. How to do that? There is actually a tool that we're using for our code review. It's called DipTrack, and you can use Analyzer for it. There is, of course, a configuration that you need to have for it. If I'm not mistaken, we already have some part of configuration as part of our demo shops. If we don't, please feel free to reach us out, and we can share the configuration that we're using. But yeah, it will help actually to automate it because sometimes it's really hard to to see the cross-layer dependencies by yourself when you do the manual code review. So no solid, it's actually quite a problem as well.
Yes.
Sometimes we can see. I mean, technically, heavy controllers is part of solid. So the same problem. Maintainability reduces a lot, and it's really hard to introduce new team members, or on the long term, it's really hard to support the project. So recommend, of course, teach the team solid principles and improve code quality in like some biggest and most important parts or the most complex parts of your project as soon as possible. Tools, manual check, or open source tools, the same legal team, you need to check it out. Usage of bridge patterns, technically it will not harm a lot your project because it's just over engineering and it's not usually needed on the project development phase or on the project development. But because bridge pattern is used in the core development or in the product itself, that's why a lot of project developers, they take it and reuse it on the product. So what we recommend just to remove it because it's not needed and teach the team design patterns, because bridge is used for a specific purpose that most commonly not needed on the project development. So use of Spryker features, that's the next category. Yeah, Florian, you have a question?
So can you share, Giovanni asked the question if you can share the depth track config later on. And the
yeah, we can share the depth track config. But did you check, do we have it in our demo shops or we don't in the latest version?
I don't know.
Okay, but regardless, we can share it.
And I have also a question. DO from the solid principles. So
Yeah.
they're open close. I mainly think about the plugin stacks. Do you think projects you create should create your own plugin stacks?
That's a really good question. I think you should propose this to the product actually. So if you feel that you need to create your own plugin stack, probably something is missing in the product, or you have a really interesting case. And if you propose this case, then our product team can evaluate if other people or other projects may need it, and then we can actually take it to the core. So in that case, it will be actually really beneficial for you, because then it means that product will support your at least your entry point for the plugin stack, right? Yeah, and you will have less code in the project. Anything else? Yeah, shall we move on? I would take it as yes. So we have user Spryker features. We have several categories here. So first one is custom publish and synchronize implementation. Second one, custom OMS development. And third one, custom modules that exist in Spryker. Which one do you think is the most common one? Custom OMS, custom modules. Oh no, we have votes for each and every one. Custom modules that exist in Spryker. OMS, perfect. Okay, so actually custom OMS development. So custom OMS development, what does it mean? It means that sometimes in some of the projects we may face that OMS is almost not used or used in slightly wrong way. And then on top, projects develop additional functionality, how OMS or how order should behave after it's placed. But for example, the same features can be implemented with OMS statuses, transitions, and timeouts. And sometimes developers on the project just do not know about that. So the recommendation will be to learn how out-of-the-box OMS feature works, because OMS is one of the first features that we have in Spryker, but at the same time, there are improvements that are released quite often to the old modules, and OMS is part of them. So just check it out and continue learn about OMS features. Refactor the code to out-of-the-box feature, because in that case it will be the same. So we're talking about maintainability. It will be way easier to maintain, and OMS by itself has a lot of features, like for example versioning as well. It can be really important when you go live, and this is something that maybe you don't want to introduce on the project level additionally, and then because you have to support it apart from just development. That's it here. I think it's just manual checks, so no tooling here. The next one, custom publish and synchronize implementation. So on some of the projects, we were facing a situation when some information was in Redis or Elasticsearch, but we do not know how it went there, because there is no like proper publish and synchronize process. What does it mean? It means that technically reliability of this project is gonna be lower. Why? Because publish and synchronize has out-of-the-box support of republishing information, for example. Yeah, so if something happens to your Redis or Elasticsearch, you can easily republish. And in this case, if something happens on your project and then you ask some developer from Spryker to support you, we will, but then this custom functionality will not be up, yeah, because the publish and synchronize process was not implemented. And that's just one of the examples, right? So if something else goes wrong, I don't know, new feature is introduced in publish and synchronize, some performance optimization, this custom functionality of publish and synchronize will not be changed, right? So there is no effect on this custom implementation, and that's why it will be really hard to maintain, non-reliable, not recommended. So recommendation will be learn out-of-the-box publish and synchronize feature. I know that sometimes it can be hard, but we have a lot of documentations about it, and we have trainings, and we have a lot of materials. So just try to understand. And if you still don't, I think just post it somewhere so Florian or Guido can take it over and maybe add some additional information if it's missing, and then refactor the code to use out-of-the-box feature. It will be the recommendation. And the next one, custom modules that exist in Spryker. So What are the problems here? The problem is that, first of all, you have to develop this functionality that is already existing in Spryker and then support. The same here. So Spryker releases some new features, some new security fixes or performance optimizations or something like that. You will not benefit from that. And you need to do it manually on your project. So recommendations will be learn out of the box feature and regularly update yourself on what is released, and then refactor the code to use out of the box feature. That's it regarding this category. Florian, any questions?
Giovanni just has a remark. Do you see it?
Yeah. I want to add on top also the generic state machine, not necessarily the OMS. Yeah, it's actually really, really good comment. So apart from the OMS is technically a state machine that is connected to the order. So we have just a general state machine that you can use for whatever needs you may have on your project. Yeah, it can be, I don't know, some product creation, complex product creation. Yeah, we're not talking about just regular status, I don't know, like available, not available, or something like that. We're talking about complex creation, or we're talking about some complex account creation or similar. Yeah, perfect. You can use state machine for that. Okay, let's move on. Then we have upgradability and extensibility. Several categories. First one, use of outdated dependencies and or deprecated classes. Next one, use of deprecated versions of PHP and wrong development strategy is used. Feel free to vote in the chat. I'm curious about your answers. Outdated dependencies, wrong development strategies, dependencies, wrong development strategy, dependencies. Perfect. Yeah, and we have one more dependencies. Wrong development strategy is used. That's the winner. Before we jump into this one, probably we need to talk about development strategies in general. So out of the box, we have 5. First one is configuration. Configuration, it means that we just want to configure some feature. So we really just touch the configuration, but we're not touching anything else. The second one is plug and play. Plug and play is where we have in the product itself, we have some extension points where on the project level we can add some plugins that we want to have to change slightly the behavior of the feature. Project modules. Project modules, this is something that you want to add from the scratch, so you do not have anything similar on the product, and it's totally new feature. I do not know, for example, you want to add some new recipes, right? And recipes, it will be totally new feature, totally new entity, totally new project module. The first one is module customization. Module customization, it means when something exists in Spryker, but you could not extend it with configuration, plug and play, or you cannot extend it with project modules, then you want to take one or two or some of the classes and extend it on the project level. So you're taking something from the product, extending it on the project level. And the last one is module replacement. So you have something on the product level, you don't like it at all, and you fully replace it on the project level without any support from the product. So what is tricky here? Yeah, here we have Spryker OS update support on the table, if you can see, and we have high update support for configuration, plug and play, project modules. So that's why those 3 are really recommended. Sometimes you, of course, have to use the 4th and 5th one. To be honest, 5th one, probably I never saw that you really have to use it, but 4th one, sometimes you need to use. What we need to understand, when we use the module customization, the update support is reduced, and you need to do a lot of manual checks on each and every update that you will perform. And when you do module replacement, update support is just not possible because you fully replace the module. So the most common issue that we saw so far is module customization is used instead of plug and play configuration or project modules. So sometimes the plugin extension point is actually there in the product, but probably developer just did not see it, and that's why the module customization was used. So the recommendation here would be to learn Spryker development strategies. So this 5, and learn update support for these development strategies as well. And then refactor the code to have the best development strategy. So we really recommend, if you're using module customization, try to switch to first three, or configuration, or plug and play, or project modules. If you're using module replacement, try to switch to anything from above. Yeah, and this was the question that Florian asked before. If you see that some of the extension points would be nice to have, or you really want to introduce some extension point on the project level, because it's not in the core, just propose it. Yeah, so we have now a concept of open platform, so you can actually develop it and propose it to the core, so the core will evaluate, check, and if it should be part of the core, then we can take it, and then you do not need to support it anymore, and then you can just use the plug and play, and that's it. So the next two, I combine them together because they are similar, and outdated dependencies we already touched in the first category of security, but here we're talking about not just security outdated packages, but just in general outdated packages. So the recommendation will be to update dependencies and update PHP version. Here you may ask, do you really need to update the outdated dependencies? So when we're talking about outdated PHP versions, if PHP version is not supported anymore, so please do update to a newest PHP version, because still you may have security risks. When we're talking about outdated dependencies, if you do not see any security risks, please evaluate what features or what new versions were released. If something like performance optimization was released, or some new feature was added, or something like that, evaluate if you need it on your project. That's it. Let's move on. Do you have any questions on the previous one? Perfect. Then let's move on. Code quality. We have three categories here. We have to-dos in the code, we have unused code, and we have PHP mess detector violations. So here I need your help. We have PHP mess detector, we have to-dos, mess detector, unused code, to-dos, PHP mess detector. Okay, we have three PHP mess detectors, and you're right. Florian writes that it should be part of the CI. Yes, it should. So PHP mess detector violations, it's unfortunately one of the most common and one of the most easiest to tackle, actually, because it can be part of the CI, or it can be part of the development cycle as well. Why it is important? So you have different levels, and sometimes, like, still, you will reduce the maintainability of the project, and then in the future it will be really hard to support. So we highly recommend to use it and to have it. So the first one will be fix the violation and put it in your CI, because it's really easy to implement in your development cycle, and you will have a lot of profits on your project. To-dos in the code, why it's considered as issue? Because most probably it means that something was not finished, or something was not developed, or you know about something that has to be fixed somehow. And sometimes we're facing really funny to-dos or really horrible to-dos. So if you have something that you have to implement, please create a specific ticket, and it should be part of your backlog and part still of your development process, to take something from the backlog and introduce it as a fix to not have the technical debts on the project. Fix to-dos in the code, or move it in the in the tickets. Unused code. Why unused code is important here? Because you have to support it. Unused code may still introduce some security violations, or you need to update still. We know that update can be not super easy task for us. You need to update unused code. So it's easier just to remove it, and that's it. You do not have any problems with it. Any questions related to the previous topic? Yeah, perfect. So we have comments that SDK evaluator checks also dead code checker. Yeah, perfect. We have automatic tooling for that. And to do see Jira ticket. Technically, I think it's actually better to have to do see Jira ticket than have to do with explanation of what to do, because Jira ticket can be tracked by some of the I don't know, team lead or project manager or whatever, and to do no, to do can be found only during the code review.
But even there, Helen, the Jira ticket could be not used anymore because you change systems or
That's fair, but at least you have some higher chances, because in the code you have really low chances that somebody will see it, right? Unless you really need to go back and fix it somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, then the next category is performance and scalability. So we have N+1 problems, slow requests to third-party systems, and several Z requests. I need your help here. Several Z requests, several Z, N+1. Several Z, third party. Okay, it seems like we have Z winner, but unfortunately, no. N+1 is the most common. N+1 is the situation when we perform, for example, some action, not for bulk entities, but for each and every entity. The most common issue that we're facing is in cart, when we're trying to add, I don't know, 15 projects to the cart, for example, and then instead of selecting something from the database for all the 15 products, we are going and performing 15 requests to the database. Maybe 15 requests to the database is not that bad, but when we're talking about 500 products in the cart, then it becomes an issue. So this is something I already explained. Recommendation: change logic to perform one query per all cart items. That's it. That's actually quite easy recommendation, and you can fetch it with New Relic and testing. So if you test your cart with a lot of cart items, and then you will see in New Relic where you have this issue, so it will be just easier for you to understand the problem. So request to third-party systems, recommendation: asynchronously, if it's possible. If it's not possible, then you have to explain to your business, okay, it's not possible, then you have to wait, or you have to find another solution. Several Z requests, pretty common issue. Recommendation: perform one. I think that was quite obvious. I know that sometimes it can be quite hard, but still we have the open platform topic. So if you see that something is missing in the core, just try to propose it. Yeah, and then if other projects have the same issue, then most probably it will be introduced as part of the core. Automated test coverage. So this is the last category, and I see that I have already 32 minutes. So for this one, I will not ask you anymore. So we have no test coverage and low test coverage. We have low test coverage. It's a winner, and I'm really happy about this winner, because it means that still majority of projects, they are writing tests, which is good, but still we're talking about low test coverage. So recommendations here would be: cover custom features with automated tests. That's it. Ideally, you have to cover all the custom features with automated tests, because then all the upgradability work will be really easy for you. Because then after you update to new versions of the packages, you just run your automated tests, and you can be way more sure that everything is good than without. And obviously, if you don't have any test coverage, please add some tests, because you really may face a lot of issues in the future when we're talking about long-term projects. And in Spryker, usually we are talking about long-term projects. That's it. Do you have any questions that we did not answer so far?